In this video series, there's going to be 2 or 3 of these videos. We are going to start talking about a way to build rations by hand using multiple nutrients and multiple feeds. It's kind of a great exercise for critical thinking and using a process to resolve a problem and be able to balance a ration for an animal where we may or may not use all the ingredients we have available to us. The process we're going to be talking about is called substitution. And when we talk about substitution, there is a difference. It is different from supplementation, which we will also be working on if you're in one of my classes to talk about how we supplement grazing animals. And so when we talk about substitution versus supplementation, if we visualize this, say we have a beef cow. And that beef cow is eating 25 pounds of dry matter per day. Okay, so if we take a look at just forage only, make my scale a little bit bigger. So this is forage only. That cow is eating 25 pounds of dry matter. Now, if we come in and determine that we need to add some other feeds into this, and if we are using what we call substitution, which is what we'll be learning today, intake stays the same. Let's just draw a line across here. Oops, pretend my line is straight. Intake stays the same, but we're adding in some other feed. This is where we substitute, okay? Or we replace pound for pound forage with the new feed ingredients. Then the third option is supplementation. And this is common in grazing scenarios where whatever we add, it's above the DMI. And so that supplement, and it has some effects on forage intake and things like that, but we're supplementing the forage, not substituting. So we're adding to the forage where we expect their intake to increase, but we're not just replacing it pound for pound. So what we're working on today is substitution. And this is good for like growing animals where you have multiple ingredients, higher requirements. You know you're going to need a few more things. Forage is still going to be the base because we're going to be talking about herbivore-based diets. Okay, so horses, cattle, sheep, goats, things like that. Animals that rely on forage. So this video is going to be an overview of what we're going to be doing, and then I'll have 2 videos following that are example problems of how to work through it. You will need to know the 3 key formulas that I have been introducing throughout this video series. The first one is that if we take the amount that we're feeding an animal, the pounds, the grams, the kilograms, times that nutrient concentration, that is going to give us how many pounds, grams, or whatever, the amount of the nutrient. That's going to be a key in anything you do in a nutrition setting. Key formula number 2 is how to calculate a percentage. And that is simply the part, whatever our part is, over a whole, the complete entity, times 100. That equals a percentage. The third one we need today, or in this video, is how to fix a nutrient deficiency. So we're going to take the amount of a nutrient that is needed, the nutrient need, and divide by the concentration of that nutrient in our feed stuff or whatever we're using to fix the problem. That is going to give us the amount needed of that feed to fix whatever problem we needed to fix, whatever deficiency needed to be fixed. So these are the 3 key formulas that you will need to do a substitution problem. So as I mentioned earlier, we use substitution for the herbivores. And if you remember from other videos or other content you may have come across, herbivores mean forages or roughages. Because all forages are roughages, but not all roughages are forage. But animals designed to eat high fiber diets. And so I like to teach using kind of the concept of a food pyramid for different classes of animals. So if we think about the herbivore and its food pyramid, and if we review and think back to the International Food Numbering System, the IFN categories, there are 8 of them. And so what we know is that for an herbivore, the base is going to be roughage. And that's IFN categories 1 through 3, whether it's forage fed fresh, dry forage, or ensiled forage. That's going to be the base of their diet because that's what keeps the microbial population in their gut, whether it's pre or post gastric fermentation, healthy. And so we start with those. Then, if this forage alone is not meeting the animal's needs, which sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, then we're going to start with energy because remember, energy, if an animal doesn't have enough calories, it doesn't matter what else is in there. And that is IFN category 4. Think cereal grains, grain byproducts, things with lots of starch, sugars, providing calories to these animals. Okay, it's going to get calories into these animals. Now, if the roughage and the energy source are not meeting the needs, then we're going to make sure we have protein. IFN category 5. And that's going to be making sure we're getting nitrogen or crude protein into those animals to help build tissue, immune system, and DNA, RNA, all the stuff that requires amino acids and protein. Very important. But we got to make sure the animal's gut is healthy and it has enough calories first to be able to then utilize this protein properly. Otherwise, it's getting wasted. So we're building the foundation to really allow this animal to have the best success from a nutritional standpoint that we possibly can create. So once we've taken care of the big 3, now we're going to add in some vitamins and minerals to make sure everything is correct. That's IFN categories 6 and 7. And then if we were doing this out in the field, then we would have that last one, the additives of anything we might be adding that's a non-nutrient, like a flavoring or a binding agent, something to help it pellet, whatever the case could be. And that is IFN category 8. So when we talk about substitution problems, it's really a stair-step process. And you can think of it like a flow chart and a series of questions. So the first thing we're going to be asking ourselves, roughage only. Does that work? Is that meeting the animal's needs? If not, then we need to add some energy feeds. Then is that working and helping to fix the problem? And if that's not, then we're going to go to adding protein and checking that it's working. And finally, the very last thing we're going to worry about is, in our examples, minerals, namely calcium and phosphorus. So it's a stair-step process. Does roughage only work? Yes or no? If no, then we're going to add energy. Are those working? No, then we add protein. Are they working? And are we now meeting everything and minerals included? Nope. Then we add in calcium and phosphorus sources. So that's what I mean by a stair step. You can also think of this as a flow chart. So however your mind works to help track this, think of it as a series of questions. Roughage only. Is that meeting the needs or the requirements of the animal? There's your question. Is roughage only meeting the needs of the animals? If it's yes, then you are done. Nothing else is needed. Great, because that's in an herbivore-based system, that's going to be our cheapest source of feed. If not, then we have to prioritize some things. We're going to prioritize energy is going to be priority number 1. Protein will be priority number 2. And then the minerals like calcium and phosphorus, because they're needed in the largest quantities, are priority number 3. Once we fix these, then we are done. And so when we're approaching the stair-step process, so step 1, roughage only. Step 2 is if not, then we determine what's deficient. Is it energy? That's the first thing we're going to check. If not, is it protein? Okay, if it is, then we fix it, whatever the case may be. And it's going to vary. So we got to determine that deficiency. We're going to then, step 3, fix the problems in the priority order. Okay, so reviewing our priority, this is our priority. And then finally, we want to make sure we convert, because we're going to be solving on a dry matter basis. So convert dry matter pounds to as fed pounds, because we're going to tell whoever's feeding the animals or making the ration that we've got to do this and we've got to fix it. And how many pounds they need to feed. So that's kind of an overview of what substitution problems entail. I'm now going to create 2 more videos that are going to deal without fixed ingredients, because it changes, and just show you an example of a straight substitution with no extra caveats in it. And then we're going to do one with a fixed ingredient or 2 and how we handle that. So stay tuned and to watch these 2 other example videos with and without fixed ingredients.